So for this video, I'm going to show you how to take a flat, black and white, two-dimensional image, turn it into a 3D model, bring it into TinkerCAD, and turn it into a jack-o'-lantern. So let's go and get started. So the first thing that you want to do is log into TinkerCAD. Go over here on the right hand side, click on Create, 3D Design. Once you're inside there, you want to go to the top left. Let's change the file name that TinkerCAD gives us. Let's change it to our first name, the first letter of our last name, the name of the project, and then the period that you have in my class. So it should be your first name, the first letter of your last name, the name of the project, and then the period that you have in my class. Then we're going to go over here where we have the magnifying glass. We're going to go and search for different shapes. Click on that. We're going to type in pumpkin, and you're going to see several different pumpkins. We're going to choose this first pumpkin here. So when you hover over it and leave your mouse on it, it should say pumpkin with a capital P. We're going to click on that one. Let me show you the difference between the others. So some of these are too big or too tall for 3D printing. Even though we could scale them down, let's go and keep this one here and delete the others. Make sure you're not using the other pumpkin that's already designed. So again, when you search for pumpkin, it should be the first pumpkin with a capital P if you hover your mouse over it. So we're going to keep this pumpkin this size. If you click on a corner, you're going to see that it's almost 40 millimeters for the width and 40 millimeters for the length. Let's go to move that to the side. We're going to go back to our basic shape. So I'm going to click on the X on the top. And so for this first pumpkin, I want you to create a jack-o'-lantern that has a different emotion. It could be happy, it could be sad, it could be angry, any type of emotion, using just these shapes here under the basic shapes panel. So I'm going to go ahead and bring out a cylinder. I'm going to bring in another cylinder. This is going to be for the other eye. And you don't have to use this design. You could choose your own design. I'm going to change this height here. So I click on the white square on top, change that to 20. I'm going to give it a nose. I'm going to design from the top up. So if I look at my view cube over here on the top left, I'm looking at this from the top view. And then I'll rotate it so that we can actually insert our design from the front view. So I'm going to rotate my nose. I'm going to go around the side here, find the rotation tool, make my nose a little bit smaller. Before I do that, I'm going to raise this up under the work plane. Whenever we rotate this roof shape, it tends to go under the work plane. So I want to make sure that it's above the work plane. So I'm going to click and drag this cone here, type in 0, and then I could keep scaling it up or scaling it down. And I'm going to click on the white square on top so I can change the height. And then I'm going to make a mouth. I'm going to use the eye for the same shape as the mouth. And then I'm going to create an eyebrow. So I'm going to go over here to the right side, use the scribble tool. There's my eyebrow. I'm going to click on done, change the height by clicking on the white square on top, clicking on the number, change it to 20, move this nose upward. I'm going to use the same shape. I'm going to scale it down, rotate it for the mouth, change the height. And then it really doesn't matter which color these are. I'm going to select them all, turn it into a hole. I'm going to group all of these shapes here. Then I'm going to go around the side. I'm going to rotate this. I'm going to hold down Shift, click on the rotation tool, rotate it this way. I'm going to have to scale this down so it fits on the front of the pumpkin. So I'm going to hold down Shift, grab a corner. And because this is grouped, I could just drag it over to the pumpkin. It's below my work plane, so I want to drag my design up. I'm going to zoom in. And it looks like my eyebrow here is a little bit out of my pumpkin. So I'm going to scoot this a little bit over to the right and see if that fixes it. You can even use the Align tool by selecting both your design and the pumpkin. I'm going to go to the top right where it says align to the front. You don't want to align to the side, you just want to align to the front. Okay, so I'm going to group my design and my pumpkin together. I'm going to click on my grouped design, hold down Shift, click on my pumpkin, and then click on group. It might take a while. You're waiting for these red lines to go away. So there's my first jack-o'-lantern there. You can see inside of it. Now we're going to make 2 other jack-o'-lanterns. One of them is going to be a traditional jack-o'-lantern. So for that one, you would go inside of the assignment side of teams. Here is the assignment side of teams. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom. You're looking for this document here. It's going to be called pumpkin.pdf. Click on that. And there's 3 different pages. You could look at these here. You could scroll down, find one of these that you like. I'm going to choose this Jack one here. So we're going to take a screenshot of it. We're going to go down to the bottom left hand of our screen, type in snipping tool. I'm going to click on new, click and drag. So we got that screenshot there. Just in case it doesn't save, I'm just going to minimize it. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to find a design for our third pumpkin. So I'm going to go to Google, or you could go to Chrome. When you get to Google, you're going to type in some keywords. Here are the keywords here. Then you're going to type in what design you want to turn into a jack-o'-lantern. So for this one here, I'm going to do Hello Kitty. Once you search, you're going to go to the top left, click on images. So the type of design that you're looking for is something that doesn't have too thin of lines or something that's not too detailed. So some of these have really thin lines, or some of these might be too detailed. For example, this one has really thin lines. This one's too detailed. So I'm just going to choose this one over here in the top left. You could keep scrolling down, but I'm going to stick with this one here. So I'm going to take a screenshot of it. I'm going to go back to my snipping tool. That's on the bottom. Or if you might have closed it, you might have to search for it again. So type in snipping tool, open it, click on new, click and drag, and both of our screenshots should be saved together inside of our screenshots folder. Now we're going to go to a website called image2stl.com, image2stl.com. When you open the website, you want to make sure on the left hand side it says PNG, and on the right hand side it says STL. Just in case it's set to something else, like a JPEG, you can just click on it, make sure you have the image tab selected, and click on PNG, and then the right hand side should say STL. Just in case it's set to a different 3D model, you just click on it, make sure you have the 3D model tab selected, scroll down to where it says STL, and click on that. We're going to upload a file, then we want to find our 2 screenshots. I'm going to scroll down until I find one of them. It's going to open a browser window. I got lucky and I was able to find my screenshots folder right away. In case you didn't get lucky, you go over here to the left hand side where it says pictures, click on that, then you should have a screenshots folder. Click inside there, scroll down to find your screenshots, go ahead and open one of them. These are going to be the default settings here, so click next to where it says tool, change standard to extrude color, change detail to low. We're going to remove the background, and we're going to specify which color we're going to remove. Click on the rectangle next to where it says color, and click somewhere in the middle so you can find this color selector tool. Click and drag to the top left. Next, we're going to drag tolerance to about 75%. So if this is 50% and this is 100%, we want to find it somewhere in between. Then over here on the left hand side where it says invert output, we're going to click on that. So you should have these 2 checked on and these 2 checked on. Then before we convert, we're going to go over here to the right hand side where it says depth, change that to 1 and convert to STL. You're going to scroll down. Instead of clicking here where it says download, click on the drop down menu and click on where it says download as STL. Then let's go to our downloads folder, click on the file explorer folder at the bottom left hand of your screen, click inside of your downloads folder. Here's the file here, it just names it after your screenshot. It's an STL, so click on it once, click on it one more time, or you could click here where it says rename. And let's name this after the screenshot. So this one's Jack. Now we could go back to image to STL and convert the other 3D model. So let's click here where it says convert another, make sure it still says PNG to STL, scroll down, upload a file, make sure you're still inside your screenshots folder, scroll down, find the other image that we took a screenshot of. Here's the other one here. Click on open. The website should temporarily save your settings, so make sure that this is set to extrude color for tool, low for detail. Both of these are going to be checked on, and color should be set to white with a tolerance set at about 75%. These 2 should be checked on. The only thing that does reset would be your depth, so change that to 1. Click on convert to STL. Let's scroll down. Again, instead of clicking on the download button, click here on this drop down menu next to it. Click on where it says download as STL. That's also going to go to your downloads folder. So let's go back to our downloads folder. Let's rename this one. Now let's bring both of these files into a folder for this project. So we're going to move this a little bit over to the side, hold down Control, tap the letter N, scoot this window over. On the left hand side here, you're going to find the folders that we pinned for our periods. Find the folder that we pinned for our period. I'm going to click here on period 3. Let's create a folder for this project. So on the top left, click on where it says new folder. Let's make a folder called pumpkin. Let's go inside that folder, and you're going to go back to your downloads folder on the right hand side. You're going to click on one. You can hold down Control, click on the other to select more than one file and drag those over. So you can wait till you have all of your screenshots converted to an STL and then drag them over to a folder that you created for this project. So make sure you have your folders pinned over here on the left hand side. If you don't, you could go over here and click on Documents. Then you could right click on the folder and click on Pin to Quick Access, and then your folder will be pinned over here on the left hand side. So now let's go back to TinkerCAD. Let's bring out 2 more pumpkins. So again, on the top right, click on the magnifying glass, type in pumpkin. Remember to use the pumpkin with the capital P, drag 2 of those out. Now we're going to import the models that we made. So we're going to go here to the top right, click on import, choose a file. Let's go over here on the left hand side, find the pin folder for this period, the folder for this project, and then our 2 models here. Let's start with this one. You can keep it in millimeters, click on import. Let's move our pumpkin. There's your design there. Let's bring our other one over first. Click on import, choose a file. There's Jack, keep it millimeters, import, and it's stacked both of our files over each other. So let's click and drag them out. You might have to zoom in so that you could resize these, so that you have these transform tools that pop up. In order to resize this, you can hold down Shift, click and drag a corner. Something else that you could do is hold down Shift and click and drag a corner, and then you can just click on the number and it'll evenly scale up both sides, both the width and the length. So I'm going to click on this one. Let's try out 15. Let's scale up this one as well. So again, you can hold down Shift, begin to drag a corner, move it around a little, and then just click on either the width or the length. and type in the number that you want, and it'll evenly scale up your model. Okay, so I'm going to change the height to about 8. Click on this one, change this one to 8, and let's see how these do. I'm going to go around the side view, find this rotation tool, hold down shift. I want to rotate this 90 degrees. Same thing to this one. Hold down shift, find the rotation tool, this little arch over here, click and drag till it's 90 degrees. And we also want to move both of these models above our work plane. You can tell that about a third of it is under our work plane. So I'm going to click on one model, find this black cone. Sometimes it's on the bottom, sometimes it's on the top. I'm going to click and drag up. You're going to have this number that pops up here. I'm going to type in 0. Let's drag this one up. Just type in 0. I'm going to move this design over, drag this up. Then I'm going to turn this one into a hole. You could align both of these from the front. So I'm going to click on this one, hold down shift, click on my other pumpkin, click on align it to the front and center. And then I would just need to drag this one up, turn it into a hole, and then drag it back. Once you have one design selected, you can hold down shift, click on your pumpkin, click on group. I'm going to do the same thing to my other design. Click on one, hold down shift, click on the pumpkin, click on group. So here's my other design here. I want to show you these other 3D models that I made. I want to show you what to look for and what not to do with your designs. So for this first pumpkin here, you can see that my design doesn't go all the way through, and these designs are not really thin. The only part of this design that might break off when we 3D print it would be these 3 here. So make sure your design doesn't go too far back, otherwise some parts of your design might be too thin, and when we 3D print them, they might break off. Here's this second one here. So this pumpkin is actually hollow in the inside. So you want to make sure that your design isn't going too far back, that it actually hollows out parts of your design. What would happen is that since these parts are floating, when we 3D print them, if we're not using the proper support material, all of these might break off or wash off, depending on what type of support material that you're using. On this one here, this design goes way too far back. This pumpkin is solid all the way through. The thing is that some parts of this design are way too thin and way too long so that these would break off. So this is too thin, goes too far back, and it's likely that these parts would fall off. So make sure that your design doesn't go too far back. If your pumpkin's hollow, make sure that you have the correct design. And if you notice that some parts of your design are too thin, bring your 3D model further out of the pumpkin, and that should be okay. So let's go back to our other design so I can show you how to export those as STLs. Now let's go back to the text tool inside of our basic shapes panel. So if you still have the pumpkins open, go ahead and close it. Make sure you're inside of basic shapes. Scroll down, find the text tool. Let's bring that out. Here where it says text on the right hand side, you're going to delete that. Let's type in our initials this time, just because some of us might have longer names, and in order to fit your name on these designs, your name might be too small. So let's just type in our initials. So mine's going to be JR, or you could do capital letters. You can change the font. I'm going to resize this. I'm going to hold down shift, grab a corner. I'm going to drag this over to my first pumpkin, turn it into a hole, drag it up, drag it back. We're going to put our initials close to the front because in the back here, it will have support material, and we might not be able to see those names if they have support material on them. So I'm going to put my initials close to the front, or where the lid would be if we were to carve this pumpkin out. I'm going to turn the initials back to a solid just because the letters might get filled in with support material. Looks like one of these letters is sticking out just a little bit, so I'm going to move it down just a little. If you're having trouble and some of your 3D models are jumping on you, you might have to click on Snap Grid and turn it off, or just to a lower number lower than 1, and then it won't skip. So I can move it down. I'm going to hold down Shift and then group it to my pumpkin. We can even change it to the color of the pumpkin before we group it. Click on your initials, hold down Shift, click on the pumpkin, and then group. So this way, if we print these pumpkins with the faces sticking up, then the support material will be here, and we should still be able to see your initials. So it looks like these initials would work. So I'm going to ungroup, click on just initials. Since these other pumpkins are the same height, I'm going to Control C, Control V, Control C, Control V. You might not have put your initials in the same spot as that first pumpkin, so you want to move around. Make sure that your initials are sticking out of the top of your pumpkin. Once it looks good, you would hold down Shift, click on the other one, group, check your initials on the last pumpkin, hold down Shift, select the pumpkin, and then group. So here are our other designs. I'm going to click on this one here. I'm going to go to the top right, click on Export. Make sure that you don't have everything in this design checked on. You want to make sure that just the selected shape is checked on, and then click on STL. Same thing for the middle one, Export, just the selected shape, STL. You could even temporarily change your file name. So at the end, you could type in what design it is. Click off, choose your design, Export, just the selected shape, and then STL. and go ahead and attach those STLs to the project. So if you have any questions of how to find an image, how to take a screenshot out of an image, how to turn that image into a 3D model, and how to bring that into TinkerCAD, go ahead and let me know.
Thank you for watching the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. And feel free to watch any of the other related videos.